This time last year, I had no idea what to do with Cam Akers other than not draft him, but I do know what to do with Akers this year. I'm going to draft him left and right. What's up? I'm John Hansen, fantasypoints.com. Last spring, summer, Cam Akers was less than a year removed from that devastating Achilles injury that he suffered early on in 2021. Now, he did return for the playoffs, but unfortunately, he did not look good, averaging only 2.57 yards per carry. However, we have seen in the recent past with a guy like D'Onta Foreman, for example, the second year back from the Achilles is critical, and it was showing up late in the season for Cam Akers for sure. So let's build his projection because I am sniffing out here a career year and a good opportunity for Cam Akers. We'll start with the Rams and the running game last year. They only ran it 20.5 times per game with their running backs. I'm going to bump that up conservatively, I think, to 22 times per game. We're going to be a little bit more effective running the rock with a full season of Cam Akers. And I do also believe, by the way, that Sean McVay needs to get back to his roots and feature one bell cow. And that, of course, would be Cam Akers. I do believe that will happen. So that works out to 374 carries per game for Ram running backs. I'm going to cut off 2 games right away for Cam Akers. So he's going to be 15 games projected, given the recent history problems, of course, especially with that Achilles. I'm going to give him 15.6 carries per game. Very realistic. That is 235 carries per game. And keep in mind, this still leaves open 140 carries for running backs not named Cam Akers in terms of my projection. They did draft a running back in Zach Evans, who is talented enough to seriously challenge Cam Akers, especially on early downs. But let's be honest, he's just a 6th-round pick as well. So he fell a little bit in the draft. Cam Akers is a former 2nd-round pick. So 235 carries for Cam Akers. When you look at the running last year, we got a lot of great data points that point toward, being very high on Cam Akers. Final 8 games last year, once he got going a little bit, he was the RB8 with 4.8 yards per carry. And he also sported a 91% catch rate with 14.6 fantasy points per game. Those final 8 games for Cam Akers. People may not realize how really good of a receiver he was at Florida State, particularly in the screen game. We'll get to that in a moment. But per fantasy points data, let's take a look, compare and contrast Cam Akers to the first 11 games of the season to the last 6 games. First 11 games, 84 attempts, 3.3 yards per carry. Last 6 games, 104 attempts, 4.9 yards per carry. 2.74 yards after contact per carry. The first 11 games, he was at 2.75 yards after contact per carry. So not a ton there, but he still did improve. 0.54 yards before contact per carry. First 11 games. Final 6, 2.10 yards before contact per carry. These are all per fantasy points data. Of course, last but not least, first 11 games last year, 0.17 forced missed tackles per carry. That was up considerably. The final 6 games, 0.30 forced missed tackles per game for Cam Akers. All the numbers back it up. He was a much, much more efficient and effective player down the stretch and certainly passed my eyeball test. I thought he was just about back, and we've learned here with Foreman, not only does it take multiple years to truly recover and return to form, if you ever are, you can get better beyond that because Foreman actually increased his yard per carry average on a different team, mind you, the Panthers last year, after showing well in 2021, coming off the Achilles. So he has a 77% career catch rate, does Cam Akers, with 9.3 YPR. I, once again, was conservative. I know they have Kyron Williams still on the roster, but he did virtually nothing last year. And Cam Akers is going to be a 3-down bell cow for the Rams. He is a good receiver, very good check down guy, and he's very dangerous after the catch in the passing game. But again, I was very conservative here. 2.4 receptions per game for Cam Akers. It all added up to 221 fantasy points, which would have been good for RB 15 last year, yet he is still just RB 24 on Underdog Fantasy. So there it is. The case has just been made for Cam Akers. Oh, final cherry on top here. Contract year, final year of his rookie deal, and the man is looking to get paid. Once again, we should all be looking to get value and to draft this man, acquire this man's services for 2023. Cam Akers could even be low-key a league winner. So check him out on Underdog Fantasy at RB24 and check us out at fantasypoints.com. All the good stuff that we're doing. We're just getting started here in 2023. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. And once again, you are welcome.